Hey VV Nation, welcome to the channel. Welcome to this evening's 6 p.m. video. My name is Glenn, Senior Stock Market Strategist for VectorVest, and tonight it's all about Taiwan Semi, the #1 chip producer in the market, the GOAT. Right now, just like we talk a lot about NVIDIA, the graphics company, the GOAT. So from the next perspective, from GPUs and storage, we got to talk about the chips, especially for AI, which is still the hottest thing that's going on in the market right now. So from that perspective, why do I like TSMC? It's the technology of being able not only to be the #1 supplier of chips, but to be able to make those chips smaller and more capable. And it's going to start with the technology. And the story tonight that we're going to get into is going to be about that specific thing, the technology. TSMC, first high NA EUV litho tool, the lithogram to make those chips, to begin installation this month, say industry insiders. This is from a site called Tom's Hardware. Man, I find a lot of places to find a lot of stuff. So this is the machine, what it looks like. In order to make a chip, that's a lot of machine to make a chip. And there's a lot in the story. And one of the big things, there's two things that I want to pay attention to. One, that Intel is already using this machine. They got this from ASML, all right, the lithograph company. They got it from ASML. They paid about $400 million for this machine. Normally it runs about $600 million, but because TSM is such a big company, they were able to negotiate a discount. But the biggest thing is that the world's #1 contract chip maker will begin to receive components in the machine later this month. It's going to take TSM several months to assemble and calibrate the tool before it will be ready to test the next generation semiconductor production technology. And right now, it is going to be in the R&D, research and development facility in Taiwan. Intel, again, is already using the machine. And I think Intel is still behind the curve. You know, while Intel is already using the ASML high NAV for research and development, intending to use the lithography in the next 2 to 3 years. Man, I think TSM is already making quality chips, and this is just going to help them from a technological standpoint do a better job. So here's this machine. The machine is the TwinScan EXE 5000. It's a dual-stage extreme ultraviolet lithography system. Is the first in a new generation of machines that will provide 8nm resolution to support advanced logic and memory chip production. So now we already know why Intel is already doing it. Now TSM, which is already the biggest supplier of chips, is now going to be using it. And I was like, they're just taking the step to just remain the king of the hill when it comes down to chip production. Then I just got another story. TSMC revenue climbs 33% in August over AI chip demand. Taiwan Semi stock is in focus as its August revenue report, where the chip giant posted a 33% year-over-year increase. Sales rose to $7.8 billion, converted from the new Taiwan dollar. The revenue growth comes amid two key industry trends: surging demand for AI and early signs of recovery in the smartphone market. So, again, these are the things that I like a lot in regards to TSM. I think that right now, just like NVIDIA is the GOAT for GPUs and stuff like that, I think Taiwan Semi is the GOAT when it comes down to chips. Now, I'm going to move over to the software, and I've got here 12 of the biggest chip providers. AMD, TSM, Broadcom. Somebody in my office is telling me we got to do more on Broadcom. And you know something? Out of the top 12 that are here listed by VST, it warrants some looking into. Notice that there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the chip companies that have a VST above 1. The last one is Qualcomm. NXP, NXPI is the fourth one that does have a VST above 1. Now, I'm looking at the bottom of the list. Most of these are sell recommendations. More sells than holds. But look at them. They all have VSTs below 1. Is the chip space going to have a little rebound here? Notice that if you look at the whole list, there's no stock with an RT above 1. So as I look at what's going on in the market, and as I still look at these stocks, I still want to caution you before you jump on board. Even though I like TSM, I think that they are the GOAT in for those of you who don't know what that means, the greatest of all time. I don't know. I got to make sure. I like it long term, relative value above 1, relative safety above 1. A lot of these chip companies, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, have relative values and relative safeties above 1. So, within the 12, 5 of them are fundamentally sound. VSTs above 1, CIs above 1, earnings growth, 3 out of the 5 have earnings growth rates double digits. TSM is one of them, along with AVGO and AMD. But I'm concentrating on TSM. I want to go look at the graph of TSM, and I want to, just reiterate. Looking at a 3-month graph, the stock is in consolidation mode right now. We got a little wicked wedge going on. And what I also like is that it's fairly valued right now. With the big pullback in the stock that's fundamentally sound, if this stock goes below value, that's going to be a great buying opportunity, because stocks that are undervalued are part of our mantra. We want you to be in safe, undervalued stocks that are going up in price in a rising market. The market right now wants to take a little breather as we get closer and closer to the Fed decision about what the rate cut's going to be. Not if there's going to be one anymore, but what it's going to be. So I caution you, if it falls below this trend line, I probably would not buy it. But long term, by way of relative value and relative safety, I like the stock. I like the rising earnings per share. Let's go put this on a 1-year graph even. Look at that rising earnings per share, earnings growth double digits. Bottom left, top right, but pulling off as many of the chip companies are. I'd like to see it break out of the wedge. If it does not, I want you to keep this on your radar, but I still think that it's a high quality stock. I'm going to do one other thing. I'm going to put all of these stocks on what we call a performance graph. So I'm looking at a performance graph, and I want you to see that over the last year where these stocks sit. And I'm just going to, AMD, boom, wow. That don't look so pretty. Look good at the beginning of the year, going into the beginning of the year, but now look. Let's go look at Taiwan Semiconductor. Oof, even worse. Intel is just worse and worse. Even though they're using the machine already before TSM, they need to do something, right? Looking at Intel, they need to do something. TSM, boom. Look at that. Now the number 1 by way of performance over the last year. Let's go look at AVGO. Up there as well. And TSM is outperforming AVGO, but they've been back and forth as to who the leader is. MCHP, no. NXPI, no. Qualcomm, it's up there. All right, it's up there. It's number 3 as far as performance over the last year. STM, no. Skyworks, no. UMC, no. ASX, no. So let's take off the ones that were doing the best. Let's compare those. I'm going to keep that up there. Take off NXPI, AVGO I want, Intel on. As much as I like AMD, it's just not keeping up with these other 3. Take that off, and there we go. Over the last year, just in performance, we've got TSM right here at number 1. We've got AVGO as number 2. And then we have Qualcomm as number 3. The 3 best performers out of all 12 over the last year. I like the idea of the technology that TSM is getting into to make better quality chips for the longer term, and relative value, relative safety. Go back to the list. Relative value, relative safety, darn good. CI, let's sort this list by CI. The stock that's got the highest CI is TSM. Let's sort this by RT. The stock that's moving up the fastest by RT is UMC, followed by AVGO, followed by TSM. So as I look, I like TSM. No matter how you sort it, out of these 12 stocks, TSM is in the top 3. Sort this by relative value. TSM in the top 3, along with AMD. But, man, over and over, I think the quality and the amount of chips that they're going to put out is the way to go. So my top pick out of these 12, and we'll probably do videos off of all of these as the news comes up. I do like TSM. I think it's going to have a great opportunity to blow a lot of these stocks out of the water, as we just saw on the performance graph. But again, going back to the graph, depends on what the market does. All right, it all depends on what the market does before you pull the trigger on TSM. I like it long term, but as I look at the graph, and depends on what the market is doing, if it falls out of the wedge to the downside, I would wait and then keep it on my radar. But definitely, if it goes below that value, if it goes undervalued, it could be a great buying opportunity of a lifetime of the #1 chip maker. So I'm putting that out there. Folks, thank you for joining me for this video. If you're brand new to the channel and you enjoyed the content, consider hitting the subscribe button, hitting the bell icon. If you like the information that I provided for you this evening and it was helpful, make sure you hit the like button. Folks, this video is over. Until the next time, see ya. Hey, VV Nation, knowledge is power. And I wish that when I started investing in the market that someone would have impressed upon me just how important knowledge is when investing in the stock market. Well, VectorVest is giving you that opportunity to take advantage of world-class information and courses at a reduced price at the end of the summer. Folks, if you go to www.vectorvest.com/sale, you will gain access to some of the best knowledge out there to help you to make better decisions in the stock market. Folks, again, knowledge is power, and this is your opportunity to take your investing to the next level.